was probably 21 years old, and rather than somebody coming up and me getting in any sort of trouble, they just brought me another one.
There you go.
That's my most memorable moment, is that if I broke it, there was always another one to drive, and nobody slapped my hand. And my insurance didn't go up.
There you go. That's a good one. John, I want to thank you so much. I know you're busy.
My pleasure.
Thank you for this interview.
Best of luck to you in this. I think it's going to be great.
Hey there, I'm K9 Co, and I'm the host of Gearhead Nation TV. And what you're about to see is just a sample of some of the people you can meet and the places you can go if you decide to take that weekly road trip with us across the Gearhead Nation. And of course, there's my co-host, four-time world champion in the Sport Compact Division, Lisa Kubo, one of the premier customizers in the country from right here in Nashville, Tennessee, Steve Carter of Carter Custom. And then there's the man himself, Dr. Oldsmobile, Joe Mondello of Mondello Racing Heads, and of course, the big daddy of them all, Don Garlitz, is also aboard with us. So whether you're into monster trucks or mud bogs, muscle cars or miniatures, you are a citizen of the Gearhead Nation. So why don't you sit tight, buckle up, because right now we're going to have a talk with Lenny Kilder of Predator Racing, and he's going to talk to us about how the Predator rolls. So why don't you take a ride with us? Come on. I'm now here with Lenny Kilder of Predator Racing. Lenny actually drives the Prowler monster truck, but as part of Predator Racing, he works on all of them. And Lenny today is going to tell us a little bit about the monster truck, the Predator, and what drives it. Tell us a little bit about that, Lenny.
Definitely. This truck here is Predator number 7. We just finished this truck back in January of 07 here. The motor on this truck has our Hemi engine program in it. This particular motor is a 572 cubic inch Keith Black Hemi. This motor is supercharged and it runs on methanol alcohol. This motor makes just about 2,000 horsepower, maybe a little bit more. Whoa, 2,000 horses? That gives it some get up and go. The Predator is truly a remarkable machine. And you know, I hear them tires are costing $2,500 a piece. I hope they have a great road hazard warranty at that price. Now, next stop is Ocala, Florida, and the big daddy himself, Don Garlitz, will be talking about a couple of hot rods. And Lisa Kubo, she's gonna fire up one of Don's Swamp Rats. So hang on, we're gone.
I'm Big Daddy Don Garlitz, and we're at a cruise in here at Ocala. It's a benefit for a young lady who was killed in a tragic school bus accident. And the cars are just phenomenal that have turned out. But I want to take you back to 1932. That happened to be the year I was born. So I'm a little partial to 32 Fords, but I'll bet you $1 to a donut, nobody in the whole world would have thought when they built those 32 Fords that they'd be what they turned out to be. There's probably more 32 Fords on the road today than there were when they were actually running, because there have been so many replicas of all types made, plastic ones, steel ones, you name it. 32 Ford is the classic Ford hot rod, and I'm standing between two of them here that just absolutely epitomize what I'm talking about. Now, they don't have the original flathead Ford engines in them, but when I say that, I mean a flathead Ford like a 24 stud, not the original little 65 horse. This actually has a Ford engine in it. This one has a small block Chevy. And these are the two engines of choice for these cars because they're lightweight, they're small, they go inside the hood. Every once in a while, a real diehard like myself will put a Chrysler engine in one, and then you can't have the nice hood side. And this happens to be a little roadster body, and with all the traditional chrome-plated Ford front end pieces, you see them on there, the little headlights, the fenders are gone. And the two bodies of choice are the Roadster, and over here we have the 3-window coupe. And this was a test car in 1932. Ford wanted to see how the people would react to a 3-window coupe, so they built these cars, and people just loved them because it's so easy to get in and out of one of these cars. You open the door and you got full access to your car. So in 1933, all the coupes and cars were what they called suicide doors. They didn't call them that at the first because they didn't know they were suicide doors. But if you're driving along at about 50 miles an hour and you happen to open this door, it could suck you out of there. And a lot of people were sucked out. So in 1935, Ford went back to the traditional doors that open in the back. But these cars are really sought after, and they are so sought after that there's actually a factory here in the country that builds a steel 3-window Ford coupe from scratch that any of the stock Ford parts will fit. And that's a real compliment to a car when a factory years and years later will build that entire car in steel because there's such a demand. Can you imagine what the dies cost to do that? But they did it. And it just speaks so highly of the 32 Fords and how people love them. And I guess it will never change. As long as there's hot rods, there'll always be 32 Fords. I'm Big Daddy Don Garlitz, and my wife and I started the Museum of Drag Racing in 1976. It's been in operation over 32 years. You know, most people would think, gosh, wouldn't that get boring, a museum, 32 years? Let me tell you something. Running this place, finding the cars, restoring the cars, going around promoting it is darn near as exciting as actually racing. And it's got one really good thing about it. You don't tear anything up. When you build it and you restore it, you got it. And everything that we've ever found or restored is still here for future generations to enjoy. And let me give you a couple examples what I'm talking about. Swamp Rat 13 was the first car that we operated with 2-speed transmissions because the power had come to the point where the tires had a little point in the middle of the track where you could feel the cars pull down. So we decided a 2-speed was the way to go. And there was the downfall of the slingshot dragster, because at Long Beach, California, on March the 8th, 1970, one of those 2-speeds exploded, cut off part of my right foot. And while I was in the hospital, I drew the plans for the rear engine car, moving the driver up in front of all of those terrible parts. See, what had happened, the engines had begun to make so much power, and we were still using stock drivetrain parts, and they just weren't strong enough to take a 2,000 horsepower engine. Today, you know, the funny cars, they sit in back of all that stuff, but it's all special made parts, not the kind of junkyard parts we were using in 1969. Anyway, I lay in the hospital for 8 weeks in California, and I drew the plans for the rear engine car, came back to Sefner, Florida, put it together, and after 3 months of testing, the thing seemed like it was all right. I took it to California, won the NHRA Winter Nationals and the Smokers Fuel and Gas Championships, and the rest is history. Within 6 months, all of the top cars were rear-engine cars.
Hi, I'm Lisa Kubo. I'm inside of Don Garlitz's personal speed shop, which is located behind his world-famous Hall of Fame Museum in Ocala, Florida. Today, drag racing is a big business, measured from the penny all the way down to the millimeter. With enough zeros in the bank, you can order a prefabbed top fuel car. Back in the 50s and 60s, it wasn't that simple. You were your own chassis builder, you were your own engine assembler, you were your own crew chief and driver. Oh, and in Don's case, you were your own painter. With the love and the passion shared between you and a few friends, that made up your team. That was drag racing. Today, we have two surprises for you. One, I'm standing here in front of Don Garlitz's famed Swamp Rat 12A. And two, we get to hear how she sounds.
I couldn't even get in there.
All right.
Yeah, you got the clutch down.
I got the clutch down.
Yeah, you're.
Whole lot of brake. Taking a nap.
When I give you the nod, you're just going to push that down.
Okay.
That's going to start it. I'll take care of all of the rest.
What do you think?
Where do I sign up? That was great.
No more front wheel drive for you, huh?
Yeah, speechless right now. Speechless. 1 in a million. I gotta grow a few more inches, but yeah. This is Lisa signing off from Don Garlitz's Hall of Fame Museum. We'll be right back.
Now that was a lot of fun. Now we're headed to Nashville, Tennessee and Carter Custom, where Steve Carter himself is going to show us his latest build, the X-Bird, a 57 T-Bird he's building from the ground up with his eye on the Riddler Award at the 2010 Detroit Autorama. Now, what does Steve do when he needs a break? He takes out a 69 Mach 1 Super Cobra jet with the 428, puts it through its paces at the Good Guys show. Wow, I need a break like that, so let's go.
Welcome back to Carter Custom. Last time you guys were here, we were making the skin for the new windshield frame that we installed in our Thunderbird. What I did was I took some 1/4 inch round bar, made a framework into the basic shape of what I wanted the windshield frame to ultimately look like in the end. Then I filled in the gaps between the round stock with sheet metal and then tacked it all into place. If you look at this edge, what I've done is I took 1/4 inch stock and actually built a frame. This edge is another piece of 1/4 inch round stock with a thin piece of metal laid in as a skin. And then yet another piece here to give that roll. Cut a piece of sheet metal to fit this contour and weld that into the place. Grind it smooth. Applied my body filler, my primer, and this is our finished shape. I skinned the door jambs, started out with cardboard template, transferred it to steel, tacked it into place, welded it in solid, and ground it. So if you look at it now, it looks seamless. It doesn't look like a piece that's been welded in. You're not looking at a bunch of welds. You're actually looking at a smooth piece of metal that won't take much filler to perfect. It's taken quite a while to get to this point, but if you look at the border of this, the fit is very, very close, and it's about as close to perfect as I can make it. Now that the hard work's been finished and you get to stand back and look at it, got to remember where this thing came from. Frame was cut from a late model Mustang, grafted into this Thunderbird, moved forward, laid back at the perfect angle. 4 inches were chopped out of the windshield pillar itself, and then another 2 inches came out of the top of the windshield, and I've reinforced the frame, condensed it, and added 1/8 inch steel for strength. So the total chop on the frame itself was 6 inches, which is a pretty radical chop by most custom standards. But it really fits the car really well, and it gives the car a lot of personality, and I couldn't be any happier with it. The next thing I have to do is figure out what I'm going to do next. There's so much left to be done on this car aesthetically. I'm sure you'll be surprised at whatever happens next. Hey guys, Steve Carter from Carter Custom. Today I'm here with my client's 1969 Mach 1 Super Cobra Jet car, which we've built from the ground up. She's got a 428 Super Cobra Jet with a few goodies on it, some metal block heads, nitrous kit, big carb, headers, 5-speed. There's a lot of little custom touches to this car. Here we have the nitrous system, and what I did was hand fabricate some nice pretty brackets for it to kind of match the engine, because the ones that they come with are pretty basic and they're really not that pretty. And then you come down here to the belt drive system. I hand fabricated this entire serpentine belt drive system. It's the first one of its kind. This car had a shaker hood, which meant the scoop shook and hooked to the motor, but with the nitrous, the scoop had to be actually grafted into the car, and there was no room for an air filter, so I actually mounted the air filter into the hood and made a nice little turkey pan to seal it so that the motor only breathes nice, cool outside air. She's a real goer, and we decided we'd come out here today and put the car to the test. This car has been an ongoing project for the past 9 years. About every 3 years, my client comes to me with ideas on how to make the car better. Getting to be about that time again to do some more work to it, so we figured we'd take it out here and have some fun with it before we tear it apart.
On 28,589, I'm certain that is his personal best.
Now that was cool, and now you know why Carter is one of the best. And speaking about one of the best, recently I had the distinct privilege of cruising the Oldsmobile Nationals with Dr. Oldsmobile himself, Joe Mondello, as he enlightened me about the 442. And what's really cool about this particular 442, Sylvester Stallone himself drove this very car in the movie Demolition Man. Yes, different color, but it is the same car. Now let's go take a look.
This is a very beautiful specimen of a 442, and the thing is that the 442, you know, originally in the middle 60s, I mean, those cars were, you know, exact 442s.
Yes.
4-speed transmissions, 4-barrel carburetors, and dual exhaust. That's what 442 stands for. It's not a 442. It's just a 442.
Right.
And of course, the W30 option was the ram air hood, ram air induction.
Okay.
It had an aluminum intake manifold. The ram air is functionable. You can see this foam cushioning that bolts up against this screen, and then the air induction that comes in this hood forces air into there, and then this rear butterfly is kept shut under low vacuum conditions. When the vacuum condition comes up, it opens the butterfly and allows more air to come in to generate more power. And that's the story about the 442, which was a 4-speed, 4-barrel carburetor, dual exhaust. This was a real gorgeous collectible car, and it still is today. And it was very fast in its era.
Now it's time for the mailbag. Here at Gearhead Nation, we believe in open and responsive government. Steve is now going to check out an email from a citizen out there just like you. How's about it, Steve?
Hi, it's Steve from Carter Custom. K9 gave me a call the other day and said that he got an email from Ted in Sparta, Tennessee, who said he went to a car show and he saw a lot of cars with no door handles and wondered how'd they do that. So I decided I'd show you. So I went out in my little personal boneyard in the back and found me a cool little Comet door, and I'm going to show you how to shave a door handle. First thing we do is we remove the door handles by the magic of television. It's gone. Door handle. Okay, what's going to happen is I'm going to make a template of each hole that I want to fill. I'll do that with my cardboard. Once I do that, I'll cut it out, make sure it fits in the hole properly, and then I will transfer that template to a piece of steel and then cut the piece of steel out, put it in the hole, tack it in, weld it up, and we're there. So let's get started. Now you see what I've done is this piece here is a negative. It comes from the inside of this hole. So I cut to the outside of this mark. Now when I do my metal, I'm going to cut to the inside of this mark, and that should give me the shape that I need that will match this hole. But I'm going to leave a little bit of that black showing in order to trim it in and make the fit perfect. See, that's not a bad fit. Make sure it's flush as you can make it. And the next thing we'll do is we'll tack weld this into place. Now we're going to weld our plugs in solid. Okay, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take a little die grinder and I'm going to grind the tops off of the welds. There you have it, shaved door handle. Sling a little body filler and some primer, and boom. If you have a MIG welder, some cutting tools and grinding tools, you can do this in your own garage. It's not that hard. And I'll tell you what, the next time you come back, we'll flip the thing over and I'll show you how to actually make it latch and unlatch electronically.
Wow! That wasn't just fun, it was educational. You can't beat that. See, one of the things I love best about traveling around the Gearhead Nation is the people we get to meet. Recently, I went to a SEMA show, and I had the privilege of meeting 2 stars of the greatest hot rod movie ever, American Graffiti. Let's go check that out. We are now here with Bo Hopkins. Bo had one of my favorite parts in the American Graffiti movie, being the leader of the Pharaohs. And I got to tell you, Bo, that was a great part you had, and you did such a great role, and I mean, it's just awesome.
Yeah, it was a great part, and I had fun doing it. And then, of course, little did I know that 35 years later I'd be talking about it. But
And signing autographs.
And signing autographs. But I think it caught on because most everybody in America in the high schools, they all had a Terry the Toad or Joe the Pharaoh, or and it just caught on. So I'm glad everybody likes it because it'll keep the cars going.
Do you happen to know whatever happened to that 56 Merc?
Yeah, it's in New Jersey in a garage. So I wanted to get it back, but we're in touch with them. But they're they're asking too much for it right now because they know I want it. See, so.
And they know what it's worth.
That's right. But then again, one night, if the Pharaohs were to go to New Jersey and the car's missing, we didn't have nothing to do with it.
The one question that's been on my mind over these years, and being that you were in that one of the most famous scenes in the movie when Richard Dreyfuss hooked the cop car to that street light. And that, tell me how that felt and how much time went into that.
Well, we only could do it once, and because, you know, we didn't have the money for a stunt car. So when we did it, when I was there, I thought it was going to pull to the left or the right, but to the left mostly. And I guess God was with us because it went straight out and it worked because we couldn't have done it twice, so we lucked up. The whole movie, I think, was blessed like that, so I'm glad.
It's been so great having you on the show. Thank you for this interview. And you know, just a little thought, George Lucas, how about American Graffiti, the next generation, bring the stars back with their kids?
That's right, and my son is ready to be a Pharaoh leader.
There it is. You've got it. Bo Hopkins, thank you so much. Now here with Candy Clark, the heartthrob of American Graffiti, and might I add, she still looks hot today. Candy.
Thank you. Mwah.
Oh, that makes my whole day. So tell us, you know, American Graffiti is the best hot rod movie ever made. How does it feel to be a part of that?
It feels great. You know, we're here at the SEMA show here at the Buffalo Milk booth, and we have had so many people come by. I mean, it's just nonstop. And I don't know how I'm doing it. I'm just so tired, but I'm tired and happy. It's just great.
The happy part is the most important part. And I'm pretty happy right now, too.
Are you happy?
Well, let me tell you, when I watched the movie, you were it for me. And
really? You like Debbie?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, how much? Woo!
That much. Candy Clark is my favorite.
All right, let's get in the back seat.
I'm game. We'll see you later. I hope you enjoyed your trip with us around the Gearhead Nation. So get your tickets for next week. I'm K9 Cole. Thanks for watching.